occasion of the second ELT conference to be held at Atılım, which is entitled Golden Implementations to Enable Students' Productive Skills to Flourish. To begin the proceedings, I'd like to call upon the Rector of Atılım University, Professor Dr. Abdurrahim Özgenoğlu, to give us his opening speech.
Dear Mr. President, the honorable members of the Board of Trustees, hopefully they are with us, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a great pleasure to see so many professionals gathered together in our university from the ELT circles. On behalf of Atılım University, I would like to welcome all of you to our second ELT conference entitled Golden Implementations to Enable Students' Productive Skills to Flourish. Our aim today is to discuss issues related to general and specific implementations on teaching productive skills, speaking and writing, and share views and experiences. It is a known fact that it is essential for individuals and societies who wish to succeed in the global business, political and technological arena to possess first-rate English language skills and the ability to communicate with professionals within the related international community effectively. English today is the universal language, and it should be the great unifier of peoples and countries. In short, English education is a critical skill to master if our youth are to succeed in today's world. This requires effective teaching, learning, and application of these productive skills. That is why English is the medium of instruction in our university. Teaching English is all about opening doors to participate in a larger world outside. For us, English in the modern world is more than a language, but it is an essential tool to use the same language on critical issues to be solved. I would like to extend my appreciation to all the English teachers in this room. Teachers like you open the doors to success and peace throughout the world. By attending this conference and working together, we can all open more doors for the people of the world. Before leaving the stage, I would like to thank all those who put their hard and valuable efforts into the realization of this event and the participants for their attendance. I hope you will enjoy your day and, of course, the conference. Thank you very much.
So, for the welcoming remarks, it's our pleasure to introduce the Prep School Director, Mrs. Atılım.
Dear Director, the Vice Rector, and the former Rector, and dear distinguished ELT professionals, we, the Atılım University Prep School and DELSU, that is Departmental English Language Unit, are all very happy and excited to welcome you to our second ELT convention. It is indeed distinguished professionals here in our university. I would like to express my deep thanks to you all for being here with us and sparing your precious Saturday for this occasion. I hope by the end of the day you'll consider it to have been worthwhile. Dear colleagues, the dominant position of the English language in the modern world is beyond dispute. Whether it be on the internet, in the world of science, or in academic journals, English predominates. There are 340 million people speaking English as their native language, and 170 million people speaking English as their second language. So, we have a total of 510 million people regularly communicating in English. When faced with this situation, it becomes clear that to gain any kind of competitive advantage, either within Turkey's borders or in the international arena, a sound knowledge of English is essential. It is with this fact in mind that the most of the foundation universities, including Atılım University and some state universities, have adopted the policy of conducting courses in English, which of course, naturally, places a great responsibility on us, the prep schools and the departmental English language units. So our vision is to equip our students with the language ability required to function at their appropriate level at their departments. This entails, obviously, raising their level of English in reading, writing, speaking and listening to proficiency level. As it is a known fact that learning English is a long process, after the completion of the program in prep school, departmental English language units should take over the responsibility of developing the students' English language skills and contributing to their subjects of study, which is the case in our university. The time allocated for the prep schools to conduct the program is limited to one academic year, as we all know. We know that 1,000 hours of teaching is required for a beginner to reach advanced level. Yet, we have to accomplish this feat in between 800 and 850 classroom hours. That is, 850 hours is the most we could allocate in one academic year. Besides this, we know the profile of our students. Most of the foundation university students who we are responsible for, unfortunately, have weak backgrounds in terms of high school achievement and knowledge of any English. So under these tough conditions, to enable the students to acquire the language, to provide a high-quality education, to attain a high success rate, we have been struggling hard, holding seminars, conferences, searching for new ideas and innovations in our field. We strongly believe that organizing such events and coming together with professionals from different universities and schools broadens our minds and adds new dimension to our teaching. As you know from the program and the topic, the conference will be focusing on the current and innovative applications in improving the productive skills, that is, writing and speaking. We really think that these are the teaching and learning components that concern us the most. These two skills are essential for the students as they need to communicate well and effectively, not only while doing their courses in the faculty, but also to gain a competitive advantage in the respective fields and in life. We hope that this conference will open up new horizons in this area. As you can see, the program is a very intensive one, continuing until 6 p.m. Naturally, you'll be tired by the end of the day. But please stay with us till then. We will offer you time to relax and have some fun during the cocktail party. It will be an opportunity to socialize and get to know each other better. Sorry. Before I finish, I would like to express my gratitude, deep gratitude, to the presenters. Paul Sellingson, Assistant Professor Benar Gülpeker, Stella and John Clarkson, Bahar Ulusoğlu Darn, Aysel Sütçü, Tuğba Aktaş, Ian Ery, Payam Deniş, Meltem Turan Eroğlu, and Beham Sherman for the invaluable presentations they will be delivering. My special thanks go to the members of the conference organizing committee for their sincere and hearty efforts to realize this conference. And the publishers, Cambridge, Oxford, and Macmillan, for their support and contributions they provided us with. Finally, the most importantly, I would like to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for, once more, for being part of this occasion. I hope you will enjoy the event and go home with fresh new innovations in your mind and soul. Thank you.
Now, our first keynote speaker today is Mr. Paul Sellingson. He has been in the EFL area since 1978. It's hard to believe. He holds an MA in TEFL, is a SATA assessor, and LCCI examiner. He has written and has edited many books, has taught and given speeches in about 30 countries. Mr. Sellingson is going to talk about the speaking skills and some key strategies to persuade students to speak. Please welcome Mr. Paul Sellingson.
Can you hear me okay? Yes. Is the volume okay? I apologise for the accent, but I'm British. What can I do? I blame my parents. I'm nearly there, so I'm just looking for a magic switch. Every system is different, isn't it? Who in this room loves technology? Somebody help me to get this on full screen. Right. Hey. Good. Okay. Good morning. Good evening. Good morning. Thank you very much for the privilege of beginning this conference, and I hope I don't disappoint you. I'm going to talk about helping lower level students to speak. I'm focusing on lower levels because if you don't start speaking at a lower level, it's much more difficult to start speaking at a higher level. For me, speaking is a habit. Once you have developed the habit, it's easy to continue. If you never develop the habit, it's very difficult to start. So my belief is we need to get lower level students speaking much more if we possibly can. Okay? Why don't our lower level students speak more and better? I'm just jumping straight in because I only have... apparently you can't hear me. Can you hear me at all? No. I'm wasting my time. If I come here...
Yes.
This is better? It's better for you, horrible for me. But there's more of you than me, so I'll stand here. Is that better? Yes. Oh, I hate this. Can we try and turn this one? I don't know.
Oh, please louder because people
Louder.
at the back here cannot hear you at all.
I'll put this on my mouth, on my nose. It doesn't go any higher. Could you turn up the volume? Is that better? I can speak louder. Is that better? At the back, can you hear me?
No,
Yes?
I don't think so.
No, you can't.
Another hall.
Another hall? I can't speak so fast. I'll stay here, okay? Let's begin here and see if we can change this later. Okay, so what stops our low-level students speaking? First of all, large classes. If you have 2 students, life is wonderful. 12 students, it's easy. 20 is relatively easy. After 20, you change from teacher to firefighter. Second thing is our syllabuses, or what I call them silly buses. Because every syllabus is a theoretically good idea, but in principle, as we've just heard, it takes 1,000 hours to change from a low-level student to a proficient user. And in every syllabus there is always too much detailed grammar, there is always too many vocabulary areas. The more you try to teach, the less you succeed in terms of speaking. And every teacher in Turkey, I've been to many universities in Turkey, every teacher in Turkey is in a hurry. They're sort of desperately running. And the students, slow down teacher, I can't speak English. No, hurry, test. It's sort of, if I can do this, it's sort of running, sort of present tense, past tense, future tense, present perfect, future perfect, I'm perfect, you're perfect. Exactly. You can't achieve successful speaking if you're constantly running. What you need is to enjoy and practice. And unfortunately, when you're running, there isn't time for that practice. Is volume okay? Can you hear me now? Good, okay. So, the other thing is teachers talk too much, don't we?
Yes.
And a lot of teachers talk and keep talking because they're afraid of too much student talking, or too much Turkish, or too many problems. And so they keep talking, and many teachers use their classes for therapy. They go into, oh, my life, my wife, my dog, my cat. And they talk, and the room is full of English, and everybody's happy. But actually, the more you talk, the less they talk. So if you are a talkative teacher, what you need to do is talk to groups and pairs, whilst the rest of the students are talking to each other. What teachers do is they talk too much at the front in a plenary fashion. And if you're going to talk a lot, what you should be doing is talking a lot to individuals, pairs and groups, whilst they also are talking a lot too. But the more you talk, the less your students will speak. And 800 hours sounds like a lot, but it's not if you're talking for 400 hours yourself. So my question to you is that question. Can you think of 3 more reasons? Why don't our students here in Turkey, prep students in particular, why don't they speak more or better? Could you, with the beautiful person next to you, just quickly think of 3 more reasons? Together, not me. Otherwise, only 1 or 2 people are speaking. I want you all to speak, as a good class should be. You have 1 minute. Go. Stop.
Minute?
Does that make any difference?
Bir.
Can you hear me? Ah, hallelujah. Good. Okay. Because of the full, it's a big echo. Is that okay? Is that okay? Do I come here? Is that better? No, it's not clear. You prefer... Do I sound like a fish? Okay, I'll come back here. Never mind, doesn't matter. Okay. So let me show you my answers rather than... Normally I would take answers from you, but I'm a little trapped by technology. So, here are my suggestions. Whoops, what's that? I know that's a mistake, sorry. The first thing is, it's incredibly difficult and artificial. Is that working? Yeah. It's very artificial for a group of Turkish people to suddenly start speaking English. It's incredibly difficult for students to avoid Turkish. And all the ideas and notions of Turkish being taboo is simply unfeasible. It's not workable. What you need to do is work with Turkish. If you spend your life saying, no English, no Turkish, if you're constantly fighting against Turkish, then you're running against the wind. And you will never make the progress you need. Speaking in a classroom is a culture. You need a culture of speaking. If you're constantly negative and defensive, then in the end the students will say nothing. So somehow you need to work with the Turkish you have as well as English, allowing students to speak a lot, initially in Turkish, and then slowly in Turkish and English, and eventually much or most of the conversations can be in English. But if you keep fighting no, who will speak? Only the strong students. The weaker students will be left behind. And in the end, they become the low-level students. And we're not really helping low-level students by standing in front of the class and saying, what's the answer to question number 1? And it's always the same hands go up in the air. You end up teaching 5 or 6 students, not 25. So we need to work with reality. I'll show you practical examples of how to do this in a second. Second one, in prep classes, they're often what I call semi-motivated. It's like milk. They're semi-skimmed milk. They're not really motivated. For many Turkish students, prep classes are a holiday after school. I call it the prep holiday before they move on, and they don't take it terribly seriously. If students are not fully motivated, it's very difficult to put in the energy to practice English with 25 other Turkish people. A lot of problems with vocabulary, not just words. I'm not thinking about individual words, I'm thinking about chunks, phrases. Teachers spend far too long, not you of course, but most teachers. Teachers spend far too long teaching individual words. Students, what does this mean, teacher? Can you translate this word, teacher? What does this word mean? We should be teaching chunks and phrases because that's the basis of fluency. Fluency does not come from individual words, it comes from phrases and chunks and using things together. So if you are translating individual words from a reading text for half the class, you're not thinking about speaking at all. You're effectively a dictionary of individual words. Often we say to beginners, discuss. How can they discuss if they have very little English? A lot of the tasks we use, a lot of the notions of task-based learning is a wonderful idea. But task-based learning doesn't work with low-level students. What they need is short, ask one question, give one answer, celebrate. Imagine yourselves learning Chinese now. If you could produce a question and an answer, you'd be delighted. But we say to students, discuss, compare. How can they possibly resist Turkish? It's impossible. So in the end, it's an unproductive task because it's too big. I'll show you what we need instead in a second. All the emotions, I'm sure you talked about these, fear. Classrooms are full of fear. Afraid of being wrong, afraid of looking too friendly with the teacher, afraid of everybody laughing at you. Every classroom is full of fear. How can you kill this? Well, I'll try and show you 1 or 2 things. The big thing is how you react to spoken mistakes. Most teachers will hear a mistake and kill, assassinate, murder, you jump. And you're listening to classes for negative, oh, mistake, kill, mistake, problem. And we spend our lives chasing and killing mistakes. It's a very negative way to be in the classroom. Which is more important, correction or praise. If you want to build confidence, if you want to help 25 Turkish people enjoy speaking English together, what they need is positive feedback. You're doing well. Congratulations. I understood what you said. It wasn't perfect, but it was very, very good for your level. And as you speak more, it will get better. But most teachers spend their lives listening for negative activity. Oh, too much Turkish. There's a mistake. There's a mistake. And the feedback we give isn't supportive. It's actually counterproductive. This one here. Sorry. Afraid that others, in every class you have different levels. And so students, when they're conscious, if I keep quiet, somebody else will answer. So the way we teach encourages the strong students to dominate. Sorry. I'll just do this more quickly. Lack of practice. How do you learn anything? Practice. If half your class is dedicated to new language, nobody will say anything. Which is more important in terms of speaking? Revision or new language? Recycling, remembering and being able to extend what you know, or new language. But teachers are rushing new. If you want to generate speaking, you need practice of what you half know. Not what you don't know, but what you kind of know. I always divide knowledge into three things. There's white, you know it. The grey, all the grey part, you don't know it. And the grey stuff in the middle, which you half know. And teaching too much focuses on the black stuff, what you don't know. We should be focusing on the grey areas, what you half know, what you've seen once but you can't remember, in order to build confidence. If you always focus on new language, students will never say anything. What they need is to recycle and extend different situations, etc. Okay, so, sorry. By the end of the talk, I'll have a very strange shaped neck. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Good, okay. Let me just try an activity which I think is very practical. Teachers like practical activities. This is not on your photocopy. I'll speak, I'll pause. When I pause, can you tell me the next word I'm going to say? Thank you. Okay, so my name's Paul, and I'm... I said stupid. Stupid to be here, I think. Now, what happens, of course, is I'm doing a simple activity. I'm stopping and allowing you to participate. And every teacher in the world can do this, but I haven't seen this very often in the classroom. And what happens is when you pause, the strong students shout out the answer. And the other students are like goldfish. And you don't know what's happening. You don't know if they're thinking, following, dreaming, thinking about lunch. You have no idea because there's no opportunity. So you're not encouraging the whole class to speak. You're feeding the strong at the expense of the rest, the majority. So let's try this as an activity. I will speak and pause. Can you turn to the beautiful person sitting next to you and tell them the next word I'm going to say? Okay, so whisper. Don't shout because you destroy the activity for the rest of the class. Simply whisper the next word I'm going to say to your beautiful friend. Okay? Try it. So, my name's Paul, and I'm from Brighton, a small city in southeast Britain. I have a Spanish wife. Two lively kids, okay, and a small, don't be personal just because I'm here, a small hamster, okay. This is my 6th time in Ankara, and it's great to be back and see all the beautiful people and spectacular buildings. Okay. All right, you've got the idea. If you do this, students in pairs, everybody can speak if they want to. They can speak English, they can speak English, they can speak Turkish, they can say something. But if you only let the strong dominate, only one student is speaking each time. Everybody's waiting. Half the class are cut out of the activity. Speaking activities in the classroom are only effective and efficient if they are working in small units, pairs and groups. Especially if you have 25 students. I'll continue. So could you do that with your classes? In the middle of a grammar explanation, just pause. The difference between lend money and borrow money is tell each other. And they go, And they say, the difference between lend money and borrow money is tell each other. And at least, if they can, fantastic. If they can't, at least you get their attention. But if you just keep talking, you have no idea who is listening, who is thinking about lunch or whatever. You don't know. Teaching should be like ping pong. I ping, you pong. Ping pong, ping pong. Teachers who are talking for more than 1 minute have no idea who is with them. This format for me is uncomfortable because I haven't got time for feedback in a 50-minute plenary. In a classroom, I would never speak anything like this long without ping, pong, pause, your turn, any questions, ping, pong, ping, pong. But so much teaching I've seen in Turkey is ping, 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 and there's no pong. Where's the pong? You can't have pinging without ponging, it doesn't work. A lot of teaching is like tennis. And the teacher serves an ace. Here comes the present perfect. And the students, and the students can't return the ball. If they can't return the ball, what are you doing? So if you want students to speak, you need to make windows, pauses, every 1 or 2 minutes. Are you okay? Are you following? Any questions? Shall I go back? Shall I go forward? Shall I go home? If you don't have this dialogue with students, if you keep presenting, there's no speaking going on whatsoever. Oops. So, that's the text for you. You've got the idea, okay? Pause and let students tell each other what's going to happen next. And every time you pause, you can look at the class and it gives you feedback, who is following, who is lost, who needs help, etc. If you don't pause, you can't teach the individuals in a group, you're just teaching the strong student. So if you really want students to speak, what can you do? Well, you can beg, you can bribe students, but a teacher's salary normally doesn't go far enough to bribe students. Here are some suggestions. What we need is much more motivating, shorter activities. 2 questions, 2 answers, celebrate. Stay in English for 30 seconds, and then pat yourself on the back. Speak English for a minute, and then relax and speak Turkish for 30 seconds, just to feel good. But this discuss or compare. And what teachers do is they put students into pairs and they say this is a 1-minute activity, and then they listen to this pair and this pair and this pair and this pair, and it becomes a 10-minute activity. And these students who did it first are waiting. You have to learn to monitor from the centre of the room. You have to monitor in a mobile way. You monitor with your eyes as well as your ears, so everybody's doing something quickly together. But if you start to try and monitor pairs individually, each of them doing a 1-minute activity, it becomes 10. It's exactly the same as a plenary type of teaching. So you have to learn to trust pair work. I'll give you examples in a second. All of our teaching still prioritises accuracy. Every gap fill, every multiple choice, every written comprehension, every composition where you correct every mistake. It's all focused on accuracy. Which is more important in cultivating speaking, accuracy or fluency? It's fluency. All of you learned little by little to speak well in English. You didn't speak perfectly. You didn't learn the verb to be perfectly and then move on. You learned bits and pieces. And then you assembled the jigsaw puzzle. You learned in a circular way. But we try to teach in a linear way. And it doesn't work. You have to live with error for much, much longer. You have to notice the success. If a student says, my sister lived in Istanbul, my sister lived in Istanbul, everybody in the room goes, we all notice the mistake. But that's 95% correct. It's 100% comprehensible. There's no problem. There's only one little problem, is the teacher wants to correct it. Everybody in the world will be quite happy with this for most of the time. If it's a written mistake, you need to react in a different way. But a spoken mistake, we have to live with spoken error for much longer to build confidence. And my experience of watching hundreds of classes in Turkey is teachers correct too much, too quickly. And you're not giving them time to breathe. You're not giving them time to expand. You're not giving them time to forget and to remember. You're insisting on remembering too quickly, which kills confidence. And if they're semi-motivated, then clearly they're not going to learn with any vigour or pleasure. They're going to begin to hate the experience because every time they try to move forward, you push them back. We need to teach a lot less. All of the details in your syllabus, some of them surely you can forget until the following year. What is the point in teaching reported speech before students can speak? I have never understood this. Good morning class, good morning teacher. We're going to do reported what? Speech. Sorry teacher, we're going to do reported speech. But we can't speak, never mind. We're just teaching these things because the dinosaurs did them to us. We need somehow to reduce the emotional fear. Most of the fear in the classroom comes from the way the teacher reacts to mistakes. They're only afraid of your reaction. They're only afraid of being wrong. If you embrace mistakes, if you change the word mistake to learning step. Listen to this. My students make a lot of mistakes. It sounds horrible. My students make a lot of learning steps. Sounds positive. And a mistake is a step. The students are moving. They're moving. They're trying to expand their English. And if they're moving, it's fantastic. At least they're not dead. At least they're trying to make progress. So you need to embrace mistakes. And above all, my experience in Turkey is you don't get what you don't test. If you don't include testing in your midterm and proficiency exams, both, you won't get it. The students, ultimately semi-motivated students, are only interested in passing the test, pleasing their parents and escaping. That's all they want to do. So if you want students to speak, if you want students to write this afternoon, both of them need to be tested all the way through, continuous assessment as well as summative assessment. Okay? And that's what I want to focus on for the rest of my talk, sort of practical ways to help students to speak more in the classroom. How are you feeling? Just compare with the person next to you. Do you hate me? Do you wish you'd never come? Is there anything here which makes sense? Just tell the person next to you in 10 seconds, how are you feeling now? Okay, of course you're all speaking Turkish, but everybody's happy, I don't mind. So what are your favourite fluency activities? Okay? This is my favourite fluency activity. We're going to play a game now, just because it's nice to play a game. My favourite fluency activity for low-level students is this. I will describe something. When you know what it is, can you shout it out to me? I can give you a sweet. It's a bit complicated with so many people, and it's not fair on the people in the other room. Okay, so she's American, she's a singer, she's married to a British guy, she's got 2 or 3 children. Madonna. Okay, somebody here said Madonna, okay? Last time I did that with the class, I promise you, the whole class shouted, Michael Jackson. It's only one more operation. Okay. Now then, imagine I'm a Turkish pre-intermediate elementary student, okay? So reduce the English. Round, square, glass, metal, table, on table. Okay, how many words did I use? 5. And you understood me perfectly. Okay? That's a fluency activity. It's communicating an idea with minimum English. You should be doing this every day with your students. Something where they are communicating something in English with the very little they have. So they can celebrate what they know, not worry about what they don't know. There's not enough celebration in prep school. There's too much of everything else. We should be celebrating what they can do. It's the whole spirit of the Common European Framework, is try to focus on the positive. And there's still too much now. Kick them down, knock them back with a written test. It doesn't help them speak. So, can you do the same thing? Okay? Just very quickly for a minute, because of the time, could I ask you to work in pairs? You need to be an octopus to do this job. Work in pairs. The person on the left, can you be A? Okay, and I will put up here some words and phrases. The person on the right of the pair, don't look at the screen. If you're in the television room, try to do this if you can. The person on the right, look at your friend and listen to the description of the words. So, square, round, ashtray. American singer, Madonna. Okay? Don't look at the screen. So one student on the left, try to do it as I did with you the second time, with elementary, pre-intermediate Turkish student English. Not your wonderful English, but do it as a student would. Just try to resist Turkish for 1 minute. Okay? If you cannot speak Turkish for 1 minute, if you could do this in 1 minute, let's celebrate what you can do in English. That's what I tell my students. Okay? Are you ready? Yes. So the person on the left, look at the screen. The person on the right, don't look at the screen, hide your eyes, and listen to your friend. Go. Okay, never mind. You got the idea, that's the main thing, yeah? I love that game, because if students can resist Turkish for 1 minute, they feel really good. They can see the whole purpose of learning is to be able to express their personality and language together. Okay? That game is a great game for fluency practice. If you just go into class and put some words on the blackboard, you can play that game. For revision, it's very good too. It's very good too for circumlocution. Do you know circumlocution? So it's not what happens to baby boys. It's not that one. No, that's another word. Circumlocution is when you go around a problem. For example, you don't know the word, you can't remember them. It's that thing you say, this type of language. This. And if you're teaching a monolingual group, if you want them to avoid Turkish, this is the most important language you can teach. Otherwise, they ask, how do you say this in Turkish, teacher? How do you say this in English? Does this mean this? We spend our lives as walking dictionaries. If they say, how do you say this in Turkish? Most teachers celebrate because they ask, how do you say? Oh, finally they use that expression. And then we give the word because we want to be loved. But if you just pretend not to know, what is that? What is this thing? And then push them to try to go around the problem so they express themselves. If you're just translating, that's accuracy. If you're pushing them to circumlocute, that's fluency. So push students to try to describe things more, to try and explain things, give examples more, as they would if they were speaking English to anybody who didn't speak Turkish. Okay? Let me give you a really funny example of this. I was in a restaurant in Munich last year, and next to me there were two people having dinner, a Chinese person and a Japanese person. Okay? And I was listening like a good teacher, having my dinner. And the Chinese person said to the Japanese person, "What would you like for dinner? Would you like some octopus?" Okay? And the Japanese person said, "What is octopus?" Okay? And the Chinese person said, "It has 8 legs and it lives in the sea." And the Japanese person said, "Ah, you mean squid?" Squid. And the Chinese person said, "What is a squid?" And the Japanese person honestly said, "It has 8 legs and it lives in the sea." And I, same. And I was killing myself laughing, thinking about language. In language teaching, we are obsessed with teaching vocabulary. Which is more important, to know octopus and squid, or to know it lives in the sea? It's clearly, when your students are using their international English, when they're meeting other English users, it's not about vocabulary, it's about communication skills. And so we need to do this much more. Speaking is all about being able to express yourself. And if you feel that you cannot express yourself because you don't know one word or another word, you say nothing. So you need to go around this problem. Okay, I'll just jump. What we need to do, you need to teach classroom language first. The big problem is there's too much Turkish in the classroom. So you need to teach phrases first. On the photocopy, I've given you a phrase book of classroom language for you to teach. This type of phrase, these phrases, I think that's the first thing you need to teach in a monolingual class where they all share Turkish, to help them see the possibilities of not speaking Turkish. There are many possibilities. All of you do this, but a lot of teachers are still unhappy about translation. I love translation. You're teaching adults. They are linguistically highly intelligent in Turkish. All of them have their Turkish fully developed. So why? And every time you say think in English, you're dreaming. Think in English. Ha ha. I have no idea if I'm thinking in English now. I'm speaking English, but am I thinking in English? I think I'm thinking in terms of ideas. And the ideas come out in English, because that's the language of the conference. But think in English is a strange notion. So what I do is, that's the original computer. Look, it has 2 positions. Print and delete. Okay? And for me, translation is a pencil activity. I ask students to translate those phrases into Turkish, and then to start to memorize them. And then a month later I say, look again at your 2 lists. The words, the ones which you can now remember perfectly in English, erase the Turkish. Erase the Turkish. And little by little, across the year, the prep year, they can erase Turkish, and depend more upon English. So through English, through translation, they have access to wonderful phrases. Little by little, they erase the Turkish, reduce the Turkish, and depend more on English. It's a logical way to teach a monolingual group. It's the only way to access language fast, using their linguistic intelligence. And it's a temporary thing. That's why I think of translation as a pencil activity. It's temporary. It's not a pen activity, it's a pencil activity. When it's finished, you erase it. You don't need it forever, but you need it to get started. Can you imagine learning Chinese with no translation? It's impossible. So let's get real and help them to speak more quickly, embracing what they have. Okay. If you really want to prioritize speaking, you also need to teach. Can you hear me? Sorry. You need, with a blackboard, you need to show students what is the aim of the lesson. A lot of teachers do this now, organising your blackboard so you've got the new words, so students can see the key words. We try to teach too much at once. We put thousands of words on the blackboard. We need to reduce this to the words over there on the right. On the right here, if you just record there the words you want students to produce, then at the end of the class you can say, revise this. We need to show the students in every class what is active and what is not. Otherwise, they try to remember everything equally, and they never speak. We need to help students prioritise in terms of, this is critical for speaking. This language is critical for writing. So you don't need to memorise the pronunciation. We need to help them reduce the load of learning and help them to prioritise. Okay, let's try a little silly activity. Could you please stand up, just because you need to unstick your bottom. Okay, I want you to shout. And in the television room as well, if you could shout this as well, it would be funny. Okay? So, I'm going to show you a phrase. I will count 1, 2, 3. After 3, can you shout this together? Okay? 2 sentences. Are you ready? So after 3, shout. 1, 2, 3. It's great! I'm sure your students would speak if you put something like this on the blackboard. Sorry? I think it is. You need to get students to move more in any class. If you sit there like a vegetable for 50 minutes, in Ankara in May and June it's extremely hot. Yeah, your students are melting, aren't they? And then we say, speak English. To really prioritise speaking, the critical change you need is we have to introduce continuous oral evaluation. Okay? Your students are with you for 850 hours. During this time they should be speaking every class a lot. So who is a better judge of your students' English? The test, which spends 1 or 2 or 3 hours with your students, or the teacher who spends 800 hours with the students? The teacher is clear, but unfortunately we've got ourselves in a situation in Turkey where the universities don't trust the teachers, they trust the test. So the teacher spends 800 hours, but the marks are given by an anonymous test. It's not fair. You're judging students with a photograph, a test, not a full-length film, which is the time with the teacher. Let me show you a system which I invented when I was teaching in Egypt. Okay? What you need to do is define your oral syllabus early. When your students say, I want to speak English, what does that mean? What does it mean? Nobody really knows. So what I suggest you do is you give them lists of phrases for the low-level students. You've got an example in front of you, it's like this. You've got a photocopy there, I think, haven't you? The second page of the photocopy. It's a one-page oral syllabus. Okay? It's all the language students are supposed to learn in the first year. Okay? Now, if you're teaching the elementary prep year, I give this to my students in October. And I say, if you can learn to ask and answer these questions, you will pass. If you can't, you will fail. Good luck. Okay? But all they've got is a grammatical syllabus translated into spoken phrases which students need to learn to ask and to answer. In my register, I keep this thing cut up into squares. So one for each pair in the class. I invented this system when I was teaching in Egypt 20 years ago. I was teaching in Egypt. I had 60 students in a university in Cairo. 60 students. So you 25, I had 60. Okay. And they said, you're a native speaker, teach them to speak. How? We don't know. You're a native speaker, make them speak. So I had to find a way of defining the syllabus. So I did this, I took my book, I produced an oral syllabus. I said to them, learn to ask and answer these phrases. I cut it up, every lesson for 2 or 3 minutes. I could give out an envelope for this pair, an envelope for this pair, an envelope for this pair. Each pair have an envelope. They take one of these and they ask, what sports do you play? What magazines, etc., etc. They ask the questions. Then the other student takes another one and asks, how often do you, where do you, when do you? And then they take another one and they practice whenever you like as a change of activity. once you've got this, there's no preparation. The students can practice whenever they want to. They can practice in class, outside class, the strong with the weak, etc. But slowly you can develop fluency through constant practice. And of course it's memorization, but it's memorization of dialogue, not written language. It's memorization of useful phrases which they will need wherever they go with English. And above all, it's a clear definition. They know what they have to do. And so I test regularly in the classroom with is that clear, this system? In the register, a copy of this per pair. Any class, when they're bored, it's hot. Okay, now let's just do the envelopes. Let's practice speaking for a while. Okay, after 5 minutes, collect it and continue with the book. But it's a change of focus for any class. And once you've got this prepared, it's no more preparation for you. And then the day of the test would come itself. I would have the test itself. And the students would be in pairs, come behind my desk. On my desk, I would have a cassette recorder, a long time ago, playing music to the students. 58 students here doing a written test. 2 by 2, the students chose their friends. They would come behind my desk, sit down, and take the envelope, and take a paper, question, answer, change. Question, answer, change. Question, answer. 2 minutes, I have an approximate idea of their level. And I give them each a grade. So 2 minutes, 2 students. 60 students, 30 pairs, 1 hour. In 1 hour, I tested 60 students. And wherever I go in Turkey, I hear, we have 5,000 students, we have 2,000 students. Rubbish, I tested 60 students in 1 hour. Okay? What grade did I give them? I gave them this. Excellent. It's an impression, it's a photograph, it's a continuous process. If you give your students a mark every month of your impression of their English, you're a B, you're a C, you're an A. If they don't like it, they say, teacher, but I'm better than her, I'm better than him. And you say, that's not my impression. You're not speaking in class, you're not speaking. All I hear is Turkish. If you think you're better, show me you're better. And next month, I'll give you another grade. If you just give an impressionistic grade every month, it doesn't take time. It begins a dialogue where there is no dialogue now, and you're moving in a sensible direction. And if you add these grades up, you have a fair proportion. If you combine an impressionistic grade every month with a spoken test and your midterm test, which includes something similar, I guarantee the prep year will work 100% better, because you have constant speaking all the time. There are so many advantages of this type of system. The washback, if you have a final test, then everybody starts to speak more. And everybody, even the weakest speakers in your university, are forced to make the students speak more. There's no test writing. Your test is a one-page sheet. You've got the test, that's it. Okay? You already know the marks because you're listening with the students. When they come 2 by 2 behind my desk, I know the marks because I've been working with them for 100 hours. We know each other. I've spent all this time with them, listening to them every day. But what happens is when they come, you're standing there listening to them, giving the grade. But you already know 50% of the marks. She's an A, she's a B, she's a C. It's a facade. It's like Venice. It looks good, but actually what's behind it is nothing. But it's the fact that you've got this system in place, everybody has an equal chance of doing well. And what happens when they come behind your desk is truly, sometimes you're shocked, you're thinking, this girl, she's C, she never says anything. And then she takes the envelope, what's your name, where do you live, what do you do, how are you? They're just unbelievable. They move from C to A because they're safe here. And they're working with a friend that they chose. And testing, we need to move away in Turkey from this notion of individual testing of speaking. At the moment you are stuck in, I've seen universities in Turkey where you have 2 teachers interviewing 1 student. That's a colossal waste of time. It should be 1 teacher with 2 students. We've got ourselves in a real mess because we don't trust the teachers to give grades. If all the teachers are giving grades all the time, it becomes a habit. It really isn't that complicated. Look at the commercial exams. What do you do when you take first certificate? What do you do when you take proficiency? You have a spoken test in pairs. 1 examiner, 2 students. And everybody in the world is buying this exam. It's the biggest commercial exam in the world. All of the commercial exams are done in pairs. Why can't Turkish universities test students in pairs? Look at the numbers. This is my key point. It's a fair opportunity for the weaker students to do better. That's what I want. I want the weaker students in Turkey to grow, not to be left behind. That's why I became a teacher. Not to help the strong, but to help the weak. Look at this. If you've got 2,000 prep students, I'll finish in 2 minutes, okay, because I started earlier, sorry. Just take this, I think this is important. You've got 2,000 prep students in a Turkish university. That's 1,000 pairs for an oral test or interview or whatever, okay? It's a lot, they're huge numbers, big numbers in Turkey. You have lots of children in Turkey, okay? If you have a 6-minute interview with each pair, the first certificate exam is 13 minutes. Because they've never met the students before, they have to discover a lot about the students. If you know your students, you can half the time. So that if you've got 40 teachers, and in most universities where you have 2,000, you have a lot more. In Hacettepe they have 2,500 students and 100 teachers. So clearly the proportion, I've made the proportion negative just to show you, this is a worst case scenario. Okay? 150 minutes per teacher. That's only 2.5 hours. How many hours per week do you teach? 25? It's not a great proportion of 1 week. And then, let's double the time for luck. Okay? Because life happens. The students are late. The administration, organising this, it takes a long time. Okay? So let's double the time for luck. So now, that's 5 hours per week per teacher. It's not a lot. It's not every week. It's once or twice a month, or once a month if you like, twice a term if you like, 4 times a year. It's not a huge proportion of time. But the big argument in Turkey is the numbers are impossible, the numbers are impossible. But the systems exist. And look at the numbers, the time is not really, is it really that much? Is it really so much to give to oral testing? Because if you don't test it, you don't get it. And that's why I came here today, because it doesn't matter what we say about speaking, all the wonderful activities. If you don't test it, you do not get it. Because that's the only thing the students take seriously. And don't forget, when the rest of the students, remember my system, 2 by 2, the rest of the class are doing something useful anyway. You're not wasting their time. They can be doing a million things which are from your curriculum. Does that make sense? Just think about the number. It's not that much of a nightmare. Let me finish with this. Okay? I still don't think, in my experience, I've been coming to Turkey for 15 years now, I've done lots of work here, I still don't think many teachers, not you of course, but many teachers don't trust pair work. And to have a look at this, 2 students here. One says, birincisi, since the other 4, okay? Ne diyorsun? Enjoy my Turkish here, okay? Ne bileyim, hiçbir fikrim yok. Peki, since ne diyelim? Okay, tamam, nasıl bir samimiyiz 50-50 değil. Okay? And then you go, tabii ya, peki ikincisi. Okay? And then you get 4 Alison, and then you get here, 4 mü, tamam ya, 4. Okay? So how do you feel? If you see that as a teacher, if that happens in your class, how do you feel? Most of you think, oh no, that's the end, I'll never use pair work again. Okay? It's a disaster, it's too much Turkish. But let's look at it carefully. Remember, speaking is a process. This is a step. They're learning to pair work. And pair work with someone who shares your nationality is a strange thing. Okay? Let's look at the numbers. Here, there are 37 words. 8 words are in English, which is 21%. So it's not 0, it's not a disaster, it's a step. It's a step, you're moving forwards, you're training them to practice, to maximise time. So all I'm saying, I'm stopping now, I promise, I'm conscious of the time. All I'm saying is, you need to trust pair work, because it's a process. You need to train students to enjoy pair work. I show this to my students. I say, if you do this, it's a step, but you can do better. The more English you put in, the better it becomes. Step by step by step, we can make progress across our 800 hours together, but I have to trust you to try. So if you demonstrate to students bad pair work and good pair work, give them opportunities, then you can maximise time, and eventually you can test students through pair work. That's okay. We haven't got time for that. Never mind. And just on the photocopy, you've got 20 ways to promote speaking. So you could measure yourself as an effective teacher of speaking. You've got my email as well if you want to have any feedback. I'm sorry I've been glued to the table. I'm normally a bit more interested visually. What do you call a person who keeps on talking when people are no longer interested? You know this. You do it every day. The answer is a teacher. So I'll shut up now. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you very much indeed. I hope you enjoy it.
Unfortunately, we ran a little bit late, but as I know as an experienced teacher, one thing you don't cut down on is break time. Break time, 20 dakika demek, 20 dakika. So 20 past, come back.